Laura, you worked with both Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig on films. What did you find sort of similar about the way they work, and what was sort of the starkest difference?
Well, I think they're both exacting about the words because they really, I think as a playwright would, they really hear a rhythm to the language. With Noah, it has its own specific nature, and one thing that I was so inspired by, and I think we found in rehearsals, even when we aren't in the scenes with the people at hand, when it's with Adam with his attorney or Scarlett and I together, he feels there is a real musicality to the film. I think he hears a rhythm, Noah, that he's waiting for everyone to resonate with in a really beautiful way. And so having rehearsal time and many dinners over, in the case of Scarlett, myself, and Adam, over a year and a half as he was writing the script, you started to see him build for each character a similar melody. In the case of Greta, she was also adapting Little Women. We wanted to honor Louisa May Alcott's words and another time, seemingly, but she's so brilliantly trusting of how modern the story is, of how modern Louisa's writing is, and how clear a revolutionary Louisa was, and through these characters, complicated and beautiful different female characters that she wrote, but also that she heard the language in a way that I think is very similar to how she and Noah have worked and collaborated, both as co-writers and her as his actress. That there is a rhythm to the language that she brings that is seemingly messy and joyful and complicated and angry and all of those things, but it's very strategic.
I'm curious if you've ever had an experience where the actor you had to work across from wasn't giving you what you needed, or it just wasn't really vibing the way it needed to. How you felt with that?
Not working meaning chemistry, like you don't connect.
Yeah. And you really need to with that person.
You know when you go to a party and there are people who have that rhythm where they're listening to you and then they wait a long time before they respond. And if you're a person, and I think we all share this, where we're like almost finishing everybody's sentences because we're having so much fun talking, it's super weird when somebody goes, I know what you mean. You're like, what? How has it taken 6 minutes to respond to the question? So if you're with an actor whose maybe rhythm is so different, it could feel odd. Or if they're just a mean, unkind person. So I just wanted to say, because it's unfortunately, this is a rare gift that we get to be in community like this, sometimes two of us or something, but as a group like this to talk. So I want to say to each of you what a privilege it is to be with you, and to also thank you, because raising a 14-year-old, I'm watching how each of you have inspired her as she walks through middle school, which we all remember, and beyond it being about your art, the non-engagement with needing to change the story, which is what we got into in middle school. That, the bravery of saying, I know who I am, and I'm gonna hold that, and I don't need to defend the story, is a massive thing for young girls. The power and the ferocity of knowing who you are without that need to justify, or with as small as 2 friends in 7th grade, having their own story of like, she said this and she said that, all the way to love stories, all the way to careers and being public figures. So thank you for that. The work of being true to yourself, ultimately.
Thank you.
That's like the big stuff, so.
I knew you were going to make us all feel good at this table.
Yeah. You did?
I really knew.
I'm a Laura. Yes.